Arsenal 1, Manchester United 1, Tottenham 2, Bournemouth 2, and Chelsea 1, Leicester 0. We're going to be reviewing those three games in today's video and breaking down sort of what we've learned from Premier League game week 28 in general. Everybody's played apart from Newcastle and West Ham, but I'll probably make a video on that tomorrow unless the game is just really dead and boring, and Liverpool are now 15 points clear at the top of the league. I think it was pretty much known for the last sort of 2 weeks that Liverpool will definitely be winning the league. Sort of the last 3 months, the assumption that Liverpool will be winning the league. I think the Kai Havertz injury confirmed that. But Liverpool need to win 5 games to become Premier League champions, 5 of the next 10 games, and that's assuming Arsenal win every game, which probably won't happen. So we're going to be reviewing all the games. We're going to start with the Tottenham game, but then going to go into the Arsenal Manchester United game, and then we're going to go into the Chelsea game. If I was to give you my general thoughts on the games, decent result for Tottenham, coming 2-0 behind, but wasn't a good performance. I think the pressure will be on Ange, because if they do not get past AZ Alkmaar in the Europa League, that is Tottenham's season over. That is season flat. And Ange getting more players back. We're going to talk about that in more detail, but I thought Bergvall was excellent again. And the talent that Tottenham have, even Odebert, promising, Archie Gray, they do have some good youth. Should Ange be given more time with Project Youth? Chelsea go 4-3 wins in a row for Chelsea, but bit of a snore fest versus Leicester. Wasn't the most exciting game. Cole Palmer's having a dip. We're going to talk about that. But Cucurella and Cucurella have been excellent for Chelsea. Even in their dip, they've been consistent. And of course, Arsenal 1, Man United 1. Declan Rice, unbelievable today. David Raya, super saves. And as a Man United fan, the first 35 minutes we were rubbish and I would have taken a draw. But actually, I felt the Man United deserved to win that game in the end. So let's dive into what we've learned from Premier League game week 38. Starting with Tottenham to Bournemouth 2. Now, first things first, when I saw this team, particularly the midfield, I felt that it lacked creativity, but I think the Europa League is what you've got left to save your season, so he's going to rest the key players. And it's crazy to think that Lucas Bergvall, 18 years of age, is like Tottenham's key player now. He is like almost the first name in midfield. He's so important to them. He made such a difference when he came on. But I liked what I saw with Odebert. I think Solanke probably isn't fit. I think the midfield three lacked that creativity, and you could see that. Tottenham didn't do too much in the first half. I actually ended up having a nap at half time because I was falling asleep at the end of the first half watching it. I can't lie to you. But Bournemouth are a very good side. So here are my thoughts on the game, but I felt that Tottenham lacked that creativity, and I felt that the subs were better, but I think it wasn't good enough from Tottenham. 2-2 to Bournemouth after being 2-0 down is a good result considering where Spurs are, and Bournemouth have been this season. And Tottenham had opportunities where they could have scored more, but they weren't like clear cut. Bournemouth always looked like Bournemouth were going to score. When it was 2-1, I felt Bournemouth were more likely to score, but Tottenham did make it 2-2. I think Spurs and Bournemouth, considering how good Bournemouth have been this season, how poor Spurs have been, I think Tottenham fans, if they were told before the game you're going to go 2-0 behind, but you're going to draw 2-2, they maybe take that. But I think Tottenham want to win. They need to win. They need to get up the table. And I think the performance from Tottenham wasn't that convincing. Like, for me, I've been very positive around Ange Postecoglou because I've said, look, he's getting things wrong and, he's making errors. But I said, at the beginning of the season, when Tottenham have everybody fit, you played some good football, you were getting some decent results. It was when Mickey Van Ven got injured, then everyone else got injured, you fell apart. At the beginning of his first season, he showed what he can do. And when Ange has everybody fit, he shows elements of what he can do. Now, not everybody is fit because Romero not fully fit, Solanke not fully fit. But there's a part of me that thinks if he gets Cardozo, because I think he's going to come, you get maybe another left back, left centre back for the depth for Mickey Van der Ven, that whole left side of defence, and you get a top class winger in and a player that's going to be back up to Solanke. I do think, but you need a top level winger. I do think, Tottenham have a good future, and I think Ange could do something. But if you're looking at Ange now with the squad he had and the players he had available versus Bournemouth, even though it was a 2-2 and that's not a bad result, the performance from Tottenham was not convincing. And the AZ performance from Tottenham, I didn't watch a lot of it because I was focused on Man United Sociedad, hence why I didn't do a match reaction because I didn't watch enough of the game and I was bored. So I thought no one's going to watch them. I don't do match reactions on games if I think they're really, really boring, unless it's a big game like Tottenham Man City. Do you know what I mean? But I feel like with Ange getting players back in the last 2 performances not being totally convincing, there will be question marks around Ange, and we're going to talk about that. And the way I've always looked at it with Ange Postecoglou is you give him to the end of the season because sacking a manager mid-season isn't going to make a difference. With Ange, you assess the situation in the summer. Could Tottenham bring in a manager like Iriola in the summer? And if Iriola wanted to come to Tottenham in the summer, there's a situation where you could sack Ange. But you need to make sure in the summer that there's a manager that can come in that you're confidently believe is better than Ange that's going to replace him. Because you don't want to sack Ange and be in a situation where you bring someone else in and set yourself back. Because the young players at Tottenham, Gray, Bergvall, Odebert, Moore, I know he didn't play today, exciting. Tottenham have an exciting future, an exciting base there, So it's one of those with Tottenham where they've not been good, and you think with the players back, I'd assume they'd be better, and they haven't been. So it's difficult to sort of judge Tottenham because I do think they have they've got Vuskovic coming. I do think they've got an exciting squad and exciting players for the future, but they're also not great at this moment in time, and key players are coming back. I thought Romero looked shaky. I think you could tell he was out for 3 months, so I'm not going to be too critical of him. I think Bergvall is your best midfielder at 18 years of age. I think he's unbelievable. I really wanted him to come to Manchester United. When he got the ball, he was able to keep it, progress it forward, which made a difference. He wanted to get the ball and drive it forward, and I felt that Tottenham was so they didn't have that person with that drive, that creativity, that spark. And I thought Bergvall brought that spark. And I was talking about Alexis McAllister in the Liverpool game yesterday and how he brought that spark on. And I felt that Bergvall did something similar. I think there was a lack of chance creation from Tottenham, but as I saw the midfield before the game, it looked like it was lacking chance. I thought Jed Spence yet again was Tottenham's best player in the first half. One of the only players that seems comfortable on the ball, progressing it forward, getting it forward. I like Jed Spence. I hope he gets an England call up because I do believe he deserves it. I think Odebert showed exciting signs. I think he grew into the game, but he's still very raw. He's direct. He wants to take on his man. He wants to make things happen, but he's not there yet. Now, he's obviously only just come back from injury, and that's fine. But with a run of games, he could have time to develop. I think he has top potential. He's raw. It's someone for the future, and I think Tottenham need a ready-made top player now. But the way I can explain it is Brennan Johnson's got the end product, but sometimes he lacks the other things, whereas Odebert has the other things, but maybe lacks the end product at time. Do you know what I mean? I think he's exciting. He's got good drive, and I feel like he could be a Luis Diaz player in the future. And I think it was a somewhat positive performance from Odebert. But I think the decision making from Tottenham was worrying at times. The lack of player intelligence. I think that Tottenham made silly decisions, and to give the ball away for the Bournemouth goals, transitions, Porro giving the ball away, it's sloppy. And I feel like Tottenham have a lack of intelligence. I want to give a shout out to Vicario. I think he's been really good for Tottenham in his return. I think since with Vicario being out and how good he's been since he's returned, I think he's shown his newfound importance for Tottenham. I think his importance to Tottenham maybe got underrated because I think he started really well at Tottenham, and then I don't want to say dropped off, but he had not as good games towards the end of last season. He was never poor, but I think a lot of Spurs fans are starting to realise actually he is really good because since he's been out and come back, I think he's shown that quality. But to be honest, I think Tottenham's biggest game of the season is AZ Alkmaar, because if you get knocked out to AZ Alkmaar, your season's over. Ange always winning a trophy in his second season, whatnot. Well, that's over. Especially AZ Alkmaar, a team I'd expect you to beat. Man United 1-1 with Sociedad, and we were comfortably better than Sociedad in that game. So, Man United might be knocked out, and that's our season over. But you'd expect Tottenham to beat AZ Alkmaar, and they didn't in the first leg. And from what I saw, you didn't look great. So I think if Tottenham lose to AZ, and I'll probably do a video on it if you lose to AZ, I think Ange is in big trouble. I think there'll be a lot of pressure on Ange. Now, look, Solanke didn't look fully fit. Not everybody's fully back for Tottenham. Tottenham, I think, struggled to defend with transitions and overlaps. I thought the first half tactics probably weren't the best approach from Ange, but he did make some changes. I want Ange to succeed as a Man United fan. Because I feel like I like what Tottenham are building in terms of the youth. I think you have some really exciting players. And I do think while it's all dark and doom and gloom at Tottenham, there is some things that are good there. Archie Gray, Bergvall. And I think Ange is showing promising signs. But when he's getting players back, we need to see progress from Tottenham. Ange is going to show progress between now and the end of the season. So a win over AZ Alkmaar, getting a couple of results in the Premier League, it's a different situation. But I think there could be pressure on Ange, particularly if he gets knocked out. Let me know your thoughts down below, Tottenham fans. But I want to give a shout out to Bergvall, who was absolutely my man of the match today. Bergvall comes on and he shows the other midfielders just levels. I think he's an unbelievable player. 18 years of age, and he is the main midfielder. Is he 19 actually, or is he 18? Bergvall. I think he might be 19 now. No, he is 19. He just turned 19. 19 years of age. Because I remember he joined Tottenham when he was 17, but that was actually January window, so he is 19 now. And he just comes on and he shows I'm a real midfielder. I was talking about it. McAllister came on and he really showed up in the other midfielders in the Southampton game. And I thought Bergvall was kind of like that. He's raw and he'll get things wrong and he'll give the ball away. And he's not the finished product, Bergvall. There's definitely areas of his game that need to improve. But when you take into the context of his age and what he's doing at Tottenham and compare him to the other players, top player there. I think he's good on the ball and off the ball. There's obviously a lack of, he will improve his awareness off the ball. But I thought he did well in the 6th row when he was playing there for a little bit. But what I like about Bergvall is he's always demanding the ball and everyone's looking to pass to him. He's always getting in positions where he can receive the ball. He's not hiding away from it. He's looking to get on the ball, make things happen. I think there's players at Tottenham are a bit scared in midfield, but Bergvall's always making himself available for the pass. He's not hiding away from the ball. He's press resistant, he's decent in duels, but he has the desire to get forward. He can play the forward passes, he can dribble the ball forward, he can progress the ball via dribble, via pass, looking to get Spurs ticking, brings a bit of intensity, brings a bit of desire, and I think that Tottenham massively needed that today. So I've just spent nearly 10 minutes talking about Tottenham. So let's talk about Man United 1, Arsenal 1. And I'm a bit disappointed as a Man United fan because before the game, when I looked at the lineup, Eriksen, Casemiro, Lindelof, I would have taken a 1-1 draw. But actually, considering how United played in the second half, I'm disappointed not to win the game because I felt that we were better than Arsenal. I felt Arsenal dominated the first 35 minutes but lacked end product, and we were just defending quite deep and we were very poor. But I thought in the second half, we created quite a few chances, and David Raya, who maybe could have done better for the free kick, made some unbelievable saves in the second half. So let's break this down. The title race is 100% over. Liverpool only need 5 more wins to finish it in 10 games, and that's assuming Arsenal win all their remaining 10 games. They've still got to play Liverpool. I think Arsenal were lucky to come away from a draw in the second half, and I think Arsenal, that's one of the worst I've seen Arsenal play. Arsenal squad is depleted, but they can't use that excuse against Man United because Man United is probably one of the only squads in the Premier League that is more depleted than Arsenal's right now. Like, our bench was Toby Collier coming on out of position as a 10, and Rasmus Højlund hasn't scored in 20 plus games coming on. And Aiden Heaven coming on because Yora's injured, who we signed from you and he didn't get anywhere near your lineup. So, but he was good, Aiden Heaven. Wasn't Aiden Heaven good? I have to say. And Bruno Fernandes was unbelievable. But look, the title race has been over for a while. I think when Havertz got injured, it felt like it was probably over. And I think Arsenal then dropping points to West Ham almost confirmed that it's over. But every time Arsenal drop points and Liverpool win, which is happening literally every week now, it's like the title race is more over and over and over. So, let's talk about Arsenal. I think Declan Rice and Raya were Arsenal's standout players today. I think they saved Arsenal. I think Declan Rice is a consistent player, and I think Declan Rice is underrated. And I think even though Arsenal haven't had the best season, I felt that Declan Rice has been good in majority of games. He's been incredibly consistent. I think Arsenal were clearly better in the first half. You were dominant, you were in control, but you lacked the end product. Arsenal were very good in the first phase and the second phase of the pitch, probably the best in the league at times. But it's the final phase where you lack. That's where Liverpool have gap posts, Salah, Diaz. Arsenal lack that because Odegaard relies on the players around him to perform. And I will say this now, Odegaard is a system player. Saka will perform for Arsenal if players are missing, if Arsenal are playing well, if Arsenal are playing badly. Odegaard only performs for Arsenal if they're playing well. Arsenal played incredibly well in the first half, and I thought Odegaard was absolutely insane in the first half. I thought Odegaard was brilliant in the first half. Second half goes missing. The game versus PSG, he had a poor first half. Second half was fantastic as Arsenal were playing really well. I feel like Odegaard's relying on the players and the movements around him too much. And I felt that, with Man United, we had nothing. We were crap. Arsenal were far better than us in the first half, but they had no end product, and they were not causing Ananas to make super saves. Bruno out of nowhere gets a free kick, scores the free kick. He lifts the crowd, and I felt that got life into Manchester United. Bruno was the spark that Man United needed. And I look at Arsenal, and Arsenal fans will not like me for saying this, and I'm going to go into more detail about it in a second. But Arsenal lack a game winner. Saka's the only player for me that's a moments player. It's a game winner for Arsenal that, if you're playing bad, can win a game. And I've said this, City and Liverpool have won titles and they can play amazing for 10 games, but they might have 2 games where they play poor, but they still win. And Arsenal fans get annoyed about that. But that's because City have had players like Kevin De Bruyne, who is a player that's popped up, a moments player. Liverpool have Salah, a moments player. Manchester United have been crap for so many games this season, and the only reason we're not where Ipswich are is because Bruno Fernandes and Ahmed have popped up, particularly Bruno, when nothing has happened all game and scored a goal or created a moment. And I feel like other than Saka, Arsenal don't have that moments player, and Arsenal need someone that can produce something from nothing, and I think that's something that Odegaard lacks. I think Saka is so badly missed, especially when Arsenal are trying to play wider and hold the width. Wanyeri's great, but Wanyeri is going to be a 10 in my opinion long term. He's better in the central spaces, the half spaces, where Saka can hold the width. And Arsenal going out wide, Wanyeri likes to be in those central pockets, and I thought Saka was so badly missed in today's game, because even if Arsenal, who weren't at their best today and actually got a scrappy draw, because I think most of the time when Arsenal drew games this season, I think Arsenal have done enough to win it. Today Arsenal drew the game, lucky that they weren't losing, but I think had Saka played, you just don't know if he gets in the positions Martinelli gets in, you expect Saka to score. I will say that. Euro and Heaven dealt with Wanyeri well. I think that was Wanyeri's quietest game I've seen him have for Arsenal. Martinelli, again, he's probably not fully fit. He wasn't great. And shout out to Heaven. Shout out to Yoro, Yoro's been really good his last 3 or 4 games for United. I think because he's never played in the back 3 and he's 18, 19 years of age and he's got to adapt to playing as a wide centre back in the back 3. But every game he gets better and better. So I'm really hoping he's not injured. I thought Arsenal's defence was good. Saliba was really good. Gabriel made a really good tackle on Højlund. Declan Rice made that unbelievable tackle on Højlund. Højlund should have scored. It's really frustrating as a Man United fan watching Højlund right now. David Raya was unbelievable in the second half. The Mazraoui save was just world class. Honestly, but it was the same Arsenal. Do you know what? Arsenal beat PSV 7-1. I said trust Arsenal to score 7 goals before they play United. That could give confidence to them. But then I've also said, how many times have Arsenal had a good game, then the following game just let that end product? You know, Arsenal problems are the same. And the one thing I will say about Arsenal is they're a little bit predictable in the sense of Mikel Arteta just does the same thing over and over again, and it's the same problems every game. The lack of transition threat from Arsenal, not breaking down the low blocks, lack of creativity in the final third. First phase, fantastic. Second phase, fantastic. But Arsenal's problems are the same problems every single game. I thought Ben White could have helped today. I think, Man United defended the wide areas well, and I think Ben White is a little bit better than Timber in terms of the wide areas and the ball carry, but I do really like Timber, and maybe that would have given a bit more threat. I think he was missed. Martinelli again missed a big chance. He was offside, but I thought Declan Rice was outstanding. Not just to go on the tackle on Højlund, but he controlled the midfield well. The only thing weird was celebrating. You're 1-1 at Old Trafford. This is the Man United side that is 14th. This is the worst ever Man United side, and you're celebrating an equaliser against us. Man City wouldn't. Man City, when we were crap on Man City, were going for league titles, they wouldn't. But I think Arsenal have said that the league's over. I feel like you can see that in the way Arsenal play. I feel like Arsenal looks so much better in the Champions League because that's what's going for them. And I do think one of the reasons Arsenal dropped off is because I think the Liverpool win versus Newcastle and the Liverpool win versus Manchester City just was like, I felt that Arsenal switched off a bit. That being said, every time Liverpool have dropped points, Arsenal don't capitalise on it. But I feel like Arsenal have dropped off a bit mentally because of that. But Declan Rice, consistently Arsenal's best midfielder today by a long way. Odegaard strong first half, but I just think he goes missing a little bit in the second half. I thought Odegaard was looking at man of the match in the first half. I thought he was really good in the first half. And people saying I'm being critical on Odegaard, but he's not been good enough for Arsenal. And this is what I said, and I know Arsenal fans aren't going to like me for saying this. People won't like me for saying this, but Arsenal need a player like Bruno Fernandes, someone who can create a moment or score a goal to win a game out of nothing. Man United, Everton game, this game, Leicester game, Bruno Fernandes has come up with something out of nothing when Man United did not look like scoring. Arsenal needs someone like that because Arsenal have all this ball, and if Bruno Fernandes had the amount of possession that Arsenal had, he would have done something with it today for Arsenal, and Arsenal would have scored another goal. City and Liverpool have scrapped out games with De Bruyne or Haaland or Salah or even Mane in the past, or Firmino, to win titles, even when they're not at their best. Arsenal are drawing games that they've done enough to win, whereas Liverpool and City in that same situation, if they put in that same performance, would win the game because they've got that quality in the front third, they've got those moments players. And to grind out scrappy wins, you need players like Bruno. People might like Odegaard because he's aesthetically pleasing, he's safe on the ball. And when Arsenal are good, Odegaard is great. When the system is working, he's got all the players around him. Odegaard is one of the best players in the world. But the minute that the players aren't around Odegaard, because I feel like Odegaard massively relies on the players around him, and he's got to do it a bit himself and pick it up himself, he lacks. I feel like only Saka does that in attack for Arsenal. We talk about Martinelli needing the left centre mid and the left back to perform and get back to his 22-23 form. Martinelli needs this and this around him. Odegaard needs this and this around him, where Saka can do it. Salah can do it. Arsenal need a player like Bruno Fernandes, who could play for one of the worst teams in the Premier League, because Manchester United are one of the worst teams in the Premier League, and pop up and still be getting like 30 goal contribution seasons from midfield. And Bruno Fernandes is playing as a DM for Man United this season, not a 10, a DM. He's doing our DM role, he's doing our 10 role. And Arsenal fans won't like me for saying this, but it's true. You need someone that's good in transition. You need a natural number 9. You need someone to give competition to Martinelli, because you need another top winger, because if Saka drops off, I feel like Martinelli, if he hits 22-23 season form, that's good. But he's not hit that for a while. Odegaard, good first half, but as soon as Arsenal drop off, which is the second half, you were losing possession, you were not controlling the ball as well, Odegaard drops off. That's what I mean. That's what Arsenal need, as well as a pacey guy in transition on the wing, as well as a striker. So last but not least, well, probably least, it was a pretty boring game. I'm not going to lie, it was sending me to sleep. Chelsea won, Leicester won. Now, Chelsea always looked like they were going to win that game, but it never looked like Chelsea were going to score loads of goals, if that makes sense. Like the XG, Leicester never looked like scoring, but it wasn't as easy for Chelsea as they thought it would be for Chelsea. Is that a good way to describe the game? Let me know your thoughts down below, Chelsea fans. Well, this was the Chelsea lineup. Fofana coming back, staying fit. I do actually really like Fofana as a player. He just has a bit of unluckiness with injuries. Same with Reece James, same with Lavia. I do think they're good players. But looking at Chelsea, I thought Enzo Fernandez had a good game. I was creative. Jadon Sancho had good moments. Pedro Neto ran his socks off. Cucurella probably man of the match. Caicedo also had a good game. And Cucurella and Caicedo I think are going to be Chelsea player of the season instead of Palmer this year because of the consistency in this Chelsea drop-off. I think maybe he goes to Casado, but I thought Cucurella was excellent today. We are going to talk about Cole Palmer. So first of all, 3 wins in a row, getting results, building form is the most important thing for Chelsea. You're in 4th place, you could still get Champions League, and if you get Champions League, that increases your pool in the summer, that increases your budget in the summer to, get that striker, to get that centre-back, to get that goalkeeper, and another player for depth probably in midfield. To get you, building upon next season. I thought Neto was everywhere, working hard, pressed well, fought really well to win the ball back. I thought it was an impressive performance from Neto, but him running around loads is the bare minimum. But he was showing the effort, he was showing everything today, and I thought Neto did well. Casado for me was excellent. I think he's probably Chelsea's player of the season. You could argue Cucurella, just because they're both probably Chelsea's most consistent players with this Palmer drop-off. But he should cover so much ground, won 10 out of 11 duels, and didn't pick up a yellow card because Arsenal's a massive game, and Chelsea want to get a result versus Arsenal, particularly because you are competing for the top 4. Every point matters. Cucurella's strong performance, as I said, one of Chelsea's most consistent players this season, been excellent under Maresca. Looks so much more versatile as well, whether he's inverting, overlapping. But the goal was really good. It was really well taken. It reminded me of Marcus Alonso. He used to score this kind of goals. And Casado and Cucurella, as I said, have been Chelsea's most consistent players this season. I'm trying to get through this because the video is dragging on a bit. But Sancho thought had a good game. I said very good game. I wouldn't say very good game. I just say good game. I think in terms of he didn't get a goal or assist, but he contributed. He won the penalty. He caused problems for Leicester throughout. I'd say good game, not very good game. Palmer missed a penalty and things seem to be going from bad to worse for him. Do you know what? Palmer reminded me a bit, very different player, very different role, of Garnacho. Garnacho's not scored for Man United in 18 games. Now, Garnacho's got a few assists and stuff, but he's not scored in 18 games. And I felt last game against Real Sociedad, every time Garnacho got the ball, he shot. And there was a pass on here, there was a pass on there, and he kept shooting because Garnacho was so desperate to score. And I was infuriating because I'm like, the pass is there. The one time he did pass, he passed it to Joshua Zirkzee. Joshua Zirkzee scored, and it was a really good assist from Garnacho. And today, Garnacho had a good game versus Arsenal because I think Amran had words with him, he was passing the ball more. But I feel like Cole Palmer, for the first time in his career, has really dropped off in form. He didn't score when he scored 4 versus Southampton. He missed the penalty today, which is so unlike Cole Palmer because he scored the 13 before that. And, that's when things are wrong, when he's not even scoring his penalties. And I felt like he was almost trying too hard. He was so desperate to get that goal that rather than making the pass when the pass is on, he's shooting, he's going from it, he's shooting from silly positions, which isn't helping the team because he's overthinking it. And, Garnacho's been doing this at United. You're a young player, you haven't got many experienced players or leaders around you to guide you. And I felt like that Palmer was doing this and that and that. And it wasn't a good game from Cole Palmer today. And I really rate Cole Palmer. And I want Chelsea fans to get behind him while he's dropped off in form. I don't want Chelsea fans to turn on him because I think there's a reactionary thing in football. If a player has about two bad months, fans turn on them, they're washed, sell them. I think Cole Palmer will be back and he's one of the best players in football. But I think he needs to get over this. This is the first lump in the road. This is a mentality test. And he kept shooting and he kept overthinking it. I also think he is massively missing Nicholas Jackson. I think Cole Palmer and Nicholas Jackson as a duo work so well. If you look at the amount of times that Cole Palmer's been assisted by Jackson and Jackson's been assisted by Palmer, it is massive. I will say in terms of Chelsea, I thought they made the game harder than it should have been. They should have scored more than one, but they never looked like scoring, but they also looked like scoring. They were dominating the game, they had the chances, but it never felt like Chelsea were going to win the game 3-0, which you were thinking before the game, maybe they would win 3-0, but I never felt Leicester were going to score. And I think defensively, Chelsea looked a lot better. And I thought Enzo Fernandes had a good game. He created 6 chances. He had much needed creativity. He's not the best duel winner. Sometimes a liability defensively off the ball. But I think going forward this season, his game's been good. He's developed. And I think overall, Chelsea weren't bad. They deserved to win. They were the better team. But I think it was flat. They're still lacking that bit of quality. They're still lacking that bit of spark. And I think you can see it with Cole Palmer's performances. But anyway, to round up this video, because this is the Premier League roundup, this is the league table here. Well, from 13th upwards. So Tottenham are, so I believe 5th place gets you Champions League, so 6th and 7th is Europa, and 8th is Conference League. So Tottenham are 10 points off Europe, so they're probably not going to get Europe. But if they can push the top half of the table and win Europa League, that's probably what they want. That's what Man United are looking at as well. Newcastle, if they win, would go on to 47 points, which would put them equal with Manchester City, which is crazy to think that you need 5th place gets you Champions League. So you've got potentially between 10th and 5th, there's 5 points there. There's 5 points between 10th and 5th for that race for Champions League, which is crazy. And all of those clubs are in a shout for Europa League. Not all of them will get Champions League. But look, 15 points now between Arsenal and Liverpool. Arsenal do have a game in hand to make that 12 points. but Liverpool need to win 5 of the remaining 9 games. They've lost 1 game all season. They've drawn 7. Look, Liverpool are winning the league, and it's horrible. Anyway, let me know your thoughts down below. Thank you for watching. Bye.